So yeah, good afternoon and happy Friday. Thanks for joining me here. Let's get this out of the way. Dorothy, you know me. I'm Stewart Gordon. I'm a software engineer here at Sitka Technology Group. And I would just like to talk a little bit about the recent Google Analytics integration in ProjectFirma. Hopefully this won't take too long. I don't plan on it taking the full 30 minutes, but I would like for us to all get back to finishing off our Friday and getting ready for the weekend, because I am excited myself.
Sounds good.
Why doesn't it go to the next one? There we go. So then why are we doing this webcast and why are we using Google Analytics? It wasn't this last October ProjectFirma group, but I believe the one previous, maybe you guys and other tenants expressed some interest in a tool where you can see how people are using your website, where they're going, and what they're doing. So we kind of used some of our R&D budget to get this going for you. I'm pretty excited about it. I've had a good amount of experience with Google Analytics in the past. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I do know how to get around, and I know enough to kind of get people started and asking questions and getting working with it.
Good.
So let's see. So I haven't granted people access yet, but that will be afterwards. So let's see. It is helpful for you guys because you'll be able to see how people find your website. You'll be able to kind of look through the popular pages and projects on your website. And Google Analytics really does have the potential for kind of informing future decisions for you guys and for us as well. Google Analytics is helpful for us because it allows us to kind of narrow down bugs and issues with the website and also kind of give us some interesting information on how we might want to develop the application going forward. And it also informs some design decisions based on what browsers people use and kind of what percentage of everything. So the goal of this is really just to get you familiar with kind of the interface of Google Analytics, because there's kind of a lot to it. I didn't really just want to give you guys an account and kind of send you off in there without at least kind of giving a quick overview for that. So I think I'm just going to kind of get right into it here. Let's see. So I have set up my account as a user, just like your accounts would be. So I have read-only access to this. This is kind of what you'll see when you do end up getting access to Google Analytics. If you have trouble finding your version of it or your kind of specific instance, there's this drop-down up here. I can see multiple, but you would probably only see your own projects. And a project goes to a property, and then you'll have a view for prod, which stands for production, which is your production website. We have different views where we can kind of monitor QA and our local development environments, but for the most part, you guys should be mostly interested in kind of your production data or your live data. So once you're in there, you'll kind of land on this home screen here. And for a lot of people, this home screen might be good enough for them. You kind of get some overview of the traffic to your website. This first graph here shows you that within the last 7 days, there's been 312 different users on your website or application. And of those users, there were 372 sessions, and sessions meaning that a user can have more than one session. Bounce rate isn't particularly interesting for you guys, but essentially means when people land on your website and they start a session, if they don't click through to another page or you continue using the application, it'll count them as bouncing. Analytics is kind of used heavily by marketing agencies. So some of these features might be more oriented towards people trying to optimize their traffic or their money that they're getting through their ads through Google, but it's also very powerful for reasons beyond that. Session duration shows us that of these 312 users, or 372 sessions. The average duration somebody spent on the website was 1 minute and 48 seconds. And then if you kind of hover over this graph, it'll give you some counts of users. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm using the action agenda for Puget Sound as kind of an example here because they have some good data to look at.
Okay.
And this dotted line shows the previous 7 days compared to this set of 7 days. So something happened 7 days ago on Monday, October 27th that brought them a lot of traffic. But this week there was only 52, so that's why there's the minus 73% or the 73% decrease in traffic for this session.
I think Carrie was giving away something free that day.
Really?
Unknowingly, since I was out of the country, but yeah.
Free Italian red wine.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my favorite parts about analytics is you can look through here and you'll see spikes in the traffic. And go, oh, what happened that day? Like, let's go kind of investigate where there's some news article, write something about us, and include a link to our website. So it's kind of fun to dig around in there. This little section on the right will show you the people that are on your website right now. And there's other pages. We're kind of going to get to that on the left here for real time. And it shows you what page they're looking at. So somebody's looking at the taxonomy trunk detail with the ID of 26. This graph right here shows how you acquire your users. So there's direct traffic, which is people going directly to the website. And that's kind of what I would expect for most ProjectFirma tenants is a lot of direct traffic. People aren't necessarily interacting with the application too much through Google search. You know who uses your application and you're setting up projects and you're dealing with people that are going directly there. But this does break it down by organic search, which would be Google or Bing search, direct, which could be somebody going to a bookmark or something like that. And the referral would be they're being referred from another source online. So like a news article that gave a link to your website would count as a referral.
Or for a lot of our clients, like their main organization homepage.
Oh yeah, that might also refer to this.
That we refer to, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you'll see some from our homepage, sitcatech.com, people are going through. So yeah, that's kind of what a referral is. These active users and user retention kind of will show you, and I think if I go to the active users report, you can get some more information on kind of what these things mean. So if I click on 1 day active users, it'll show you the number of unique users who had at least one session within the last day in your active date range, and your 28-day users, same thing, but within a 28-day period. So if you're curious about these kind of graphs on the homepage, there's usually a link to get some more information, like the full report for that. Similarly with the user retention, this is kind of to see if people using your website come back within a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. You can see what time of day your users visit your website, which I think is really interesting that the Puget Sound partnership gets visitors at all hours of the day, which is surprising to me. Right, I would, somewhat expect it to be blocked within the workday, but that's interesting. You can see where the users are. Sorry?
Go ahead. No, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay.
The blurb in the middle of Asia is interesting. The blog.
Yeah.
We have.
There's a session from Kazakhstan. Oftentimes, so the internet's full of a lot of people crawling different websites.
Yeah.
So some might come from countries where they're just kind of scanning around the internet and they land here. So
that was Barat.
That was Barat. Then you'll see the sessions by device. I would expect yours to have primarily desktop users. Because we're working during the business day. I don't think people are often using their phone to interact with the website or tablets, but there are some. And then down here, you've got the most popular pages of the last 7 days, and you can change these down to like the last last month or the last 90 days, or change the presets if you would like. So kind of, let's see.
Can I ask you one question on
Sure,
the,
yeah.
on the data down below? Is that by session, that one, or by user? So this could be.
Yeah, this could be page views. So this could technically be one person, going to this page 53 times.
Okay.
But we will be able to break it down in other sections because this is just kind of an overview here. So let's just, in the interest of time, let's just keep going. It's broken down into these report section: real-time, audience, acquisition, behavior, and conversions. You're not going to spend much time in conversions, but I think there is some decent information in all the other sections. Real-time is really fun. If you, say you're on the news or some news article gets posted and there's a link to your website, it's really fun to see these numbers go up as people are actively going there. So if I open up a new tab and go to the website, it should show up here in just a moment.
You don't have it set up so Sitka domains filtered out?
Not currently, and that is something that I do want to work on. And we might want to filter out the different groups at different organizations into their own kind of categories so we can tell who's working there under what internet service provider. So yeah, you see active users 1 right now, and then you'll be able to see where they are. This should say Portland because that's where we are. And if you get like a ton of views, hey, look, somebody else on mobile just pulled it out. There we go. That's
guilty. That's me. I'm playing.
So yeah, if you do get a ton here, you can kind of break it down by location more or traffic sources, which will say both of us came here directly. We didn't go through anything else. Go to the content, you'll see which pages they're looking at, and events and conversions. We don't really have anything set up there yet, but that is something that we could do in the future that I hopefully will have enough time to kind of get into. An event would be something that we want to track and kind of utilize the interface here in Google Analytics to get the cool graphs and all the real-time data for it. So an example would be the print to PDF on project fact sheets. We could track that on our own, but it would probably be cheaper and easier for us to set up an event that sends out a notification to Google Analytics where we can kind of track those events separately, and you can kind of mark them up against all these other metrics that we're gathering here.
So Stewart, this is Matt. That if I'm hearing you right, the reason you might set up an event is if there's a particular area or function within the application that you're really interested in and you want to get more precise or more kind of very specific reporting on that one.
Exactly, on that one function, and it'll be up here in Google Analytics, and you can view it over months and years, and you can kind of see it like that. Like, there's no reason we couldn't do something custom within the application, but oftentimes it might just be easier to add an on-click event handler through JavaScript or something that just.
So if Carrie wanted to do that, it would be just as simple as asking Kathleen, hey, can we add this? And it would be.
And then she might send it to the developer, and it might take them 10 minutes to kind of.
10 minutes to get add the on-click event and test it. And okay.
And it can kind of get as complicated as we want to, but there is a lot of potential in events, and I kind of imagine that we might head that way in the future. So let's move on to audience overview. This is probably the most kind of popular part of Google Analytics. I spend the most time in here myself. This just kind of gives you an overall rundown of your traffic, right? So similar to that homepage overview, we have 312 users. 276 of these are considered new to Google Analytics, comprised of 372 sessions. Users averaged 1.19 sessions during this time period, and there were 775 page views and so it kind of gets down to these nitty-gritty details of per user and the page views and session durations and bounce rates. You got a pie graph here showing returning visitors versus new visitors, and like kind of a common motif that you'll see on a lot of these pages with graphs is that you can change your date range here. So if I do the whole month of October and I click apply, we can kind of see the traffic over time. And kind of one of the benefits of setting this up as soon as we can is that this will keep tracking data automatically for us, and then in a year, we'll get more data. In 2 years, we'll have more data, and we can kind of do better analysis of everything.
Well, I don't know if you're going to get into it, but one thing that I found helpful in the past was comparing to like prior months.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So you can,
yeah, you can like,
do that
you can do that through up here. Let's see. So you can compare it to, so I have the month of October selected, and you can compare it to the previous period, which will do the previous 31 days. Click apply. The thing is, we're not going to have data there because this is when
this week, the prior week.
Yeah, we can do that. Let's see. Same range. Let's do last 7 days compared to the previous period. Yeah, so you'll be able to kind of compare 2 date ranges to each other. So say you have something important that always happens in July, you can pull up the whole month of July, and the next year you can compare that to this July. So you can get this really cool kind of analysis of things over time, and it'll just get more valuable as time goes on, essentially. Let's see, is there anything else down here? Yeah, we'll break it down by language, country, the city. It just captures so much information, and stuff like the system browser is really good for us because developing websites, you would think that you develop a website and it works on all browsers, but that's not often the case. Particularly Internet Explorer often has issues. So it's good for us to come in here, and if we experience an issue in Internet Explorer, we can see, okay, 5% of users use Internet Explorer, and then you can break it down. I think if I click here, it'll show me what version. Let's see, that's actually under technology. Yeah. Let's go back over here. Kind of refresh this page.
Yeah, and I could spend hours wasting time in here.
Yeah, I know, right? So we can see like 8% of people use Internet Explorer. If we click on that, we can see that 70% of that 8% uses this version. So it allows us as developers to really narrow in on issues and be like, okay, there's this bug and it's affecting a real amount of users, and that number is, you know, 3%.
Or even you in dealing with a customer support issue, if you've got a user saying it's not working, you can't reproduce it.
Right.
You can quickly just say, sorry, you're one of 2 people out of the 1,000 that are using it. Can you please upgrade your browser?
Right.
And not spend your budget asking us to go fix that problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the features, another one that I like, but we haven't enabled it yet because I don't think it's really necessary for us. We could in the future enable demographics, which will let us view, you know, the age of the users, their gender, and kind of their interests, which is kind of weird, but
that's a little, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's not enabled, and we're not really interested in that. But if people do express interest, we can do that.
But this is our data from the Action Agenda Tracker. Is that accurate right now? I mean, is that actual data?
This stuff right here is not actual. This is just an example of what you would see. So this is enabled. We aren't capturing that yet. So, and if you did capture
Google
that,
knows too much about me.
I know, right?
I mean, that's not asking users what they are. It's something Google happens to know.
Google has kind of a profile on you on all, after you visiting all the different websites you do, they can kind of get an average of stuff. Yeah, and it gets even, you know, I don't want to say scary, but it gets even more interesting. If you were an advertising company, you can see like their interests of stuff that they're interested in, like gardening or something like that. But we're not going to do that. Something that language isn't going to be really useful for us because we're mostly English speaking, but if you wanted to see where your users are coming from, yeah, this is that Kazakhstan person that's Russian.
But I mean, interesting for like RideShare.
Oh yeah, no, that's great.
Some of our right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that totally does help prioritizing your development on like, okay, we really need localization for this language, so we can work on that. Geolocation breakdown is pretty cool. See, it's all mostly from the United States, and click on that, and then we can see where in the United States they're from. So if we like click on,
where were you on vacation?
Where was I on vacation?
Yeah.
I was not working on my vacation. So.
Well, now we have proof that you weren't. Good job.
Yeah, I was in Italy, so.
Yeah.
So you can dig down to the state level, and then you can see, like, okay, there's 3 people in Bellingham using it, Quincy,
This is great.
dig in, that's like Tacoma. I think it's because of the browser screen, it's not really showing me the label of it. Oh, I have to go over there. So yeah, Seattle, should be Tacoma. And yeah, you can kind of get a good idea of where people are coming from. Let's see, I am kind of running out of time actually, so what are some other interesting ones that we have here? Behavior, you can find some stuff in there, technology, mobile, custom benchmarking. Now let's go into acquisition. Yeah. I want to do one last thing. So referrals is another section that I really like to see where people are linking to you from. And if we go through the whole month of October, you can see that we got some users from the Bellingham Herald here, which is interesting. If you click on that, you can actually see where that came from.
Oh, cool.
So if I go here, there's an article someone wrote called "The Poop Fairies Are Gone. It's time to bring a bag and clean up after your own dog." I'm going to get bombarded with ads here, but if you're looking through here, you can find that they linked to you down here. So this would be how they got to your website from the Bellingham Herald. So if I click on that, that would bring me to the website.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I find the referral stuff pretty interesting. If you had a lot of social media traffic, you can get it through there. Ads, we're not doing that. Campaigns, we're not doing that.
So if PSP's communications team were doing Instagram posts or Facebook posts or whatever, Twitter,
yeah,
they would all show up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you look at the 21st? I'm just curious what
happened on the 21st.
Yeah, because that's quite a few users.
What are we looking at?
This is just the channels. There's only one. It shows a spike, but only to one. And
right, but that's when we got like a couple hundred users that signed on.
Yeah, but it probably was that.
Yeah, it probably was that article.
But
so,
wouldn't you expect?
Oh, that's the day you clicked on? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would expect more, and I've in my experience, Google Analytics doesn't capture every single person. You know, so there is some people disable their tracking on their browsers. Some people have ad blockers, which kind of might affect this. But for the most part, over a long enough period of time and with enough traffic, you'll get some good trends to view. Behavior.
But you can't. What I'm hearing you say is you can't totally rely on. We only got 3 clicks from that one news article.
Yeah.
Often you you got 3. You might have gotten more.
Yeah, exactly. They're conservative on the low end. Most of these numbers for the most part. Behavior overview. See, we can see again the pages that they're going to. If you wanted to break down into your site content, you can go to site content, all pages. You can see where they're going. You can type searches in here to look for like fact sheets. And then this will kind of show you all the fact sheets that they're going to. You can add secondary dimensions, which gets even more cool, but also a bit intimidating. Content drill down. This kind of breaks your website up into folders. So like most of the time people are spinning in projects.
Do they still have the Sankey diagram?
I am not certain.
You know what I'm talking about?
Which
That's
one
where
is
it
that?
shows the flows.
Oh yeah, I was going to get there. It's right here. That's okay. Let's see, behavior flow. Here we go. Yeah, this one's really fun.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you can see the landing pages, and then you can kind of track it through, and I can like view only this segment. If they landed on the home page, then you can see where they go.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so people land on the home page, they go to project map most likely, most often, and they go to project index second often, and then some overview pages, and then you can keep on clicking through these things. And kind of the red there is when people drop off and they close the website. So you can just kind of really explore where people are going to some kind of almost scary degree. But it is really helpful for you as a website owner and for us as developers on that. Site speed, my experience with this isn't too great. It does not capture things the way that they really are. But if you had,
This is not using Lighthouse?
I don't think so. Could be wrong. Site search, we could set up our site search to also feed into Google Analytics, and we can get some better idea of what people are searching for through the website with some nice graphs. Conversions, this is more for ad-based stuff. So that kind of covers the things that I think are interesting. And it is really just kind of a fun tool to get in here and look around. I'm kind of running out of time, but if you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask me, I'd love to give my best shot at answering those.
I missed the very beginning, but when do we get access to this?
After this meeting, I am going to be sending out an email. It's probably going to be early next week. And yeah, let's go back to the presentation. And kind of the last thing is that we're going to grant you guys access to this, but I want to make sure that I give you enough information where you can set up your Google account, because you do need a Google account to view these. But there is a way that you can set up your work email as a Google account. I just want to make sure I give you some kind of instructions for that, and we're going to need to do that for our internal users and business analysts and stuff. So yeah, we're going to grant access to up to 2 accounts for every tenant for the time being. So if you guys want to think about who you think would find this most valuable at your organizations, that'd be great. And then you'll be able to answer me back when I email you next week. And then for us, we're just kind of gathering your interest, and I'm sure we'll be able to communicate more as time goes on. If you guys are really interested in this, and if you have an idea for setting up events that we can track, that would be great. We'd love to talk to you about that. And then, yeah, that's kind of the action items here, and that's pretty much all I have. So I think we did make it to the 30 minutes.
This is exciting stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is great. Thank you.
I know it's a bit overwhelming, but as long as you're in there, there shouldn't be any way for you guys to mess this up, because you will have only read-only access. So we just
You have so much confidence in the people you
There's always a way, right?
Yes, there is.
So yeah, if you just kind of look through and click around.
And you're recording this, right?
Yes,
So we can
I am
share.
recording
Okay.
this, and then that'll be included in the email too.
Great.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask you, so are you guys planning on, sorry, question.
Okay.
It would be really interesting at some point, maybe 6 months from now, once we have some good data. I'm guessing you guys would be interested in this too, is comparing how people flow through the site or move through the site across different instances of ProjectFirma.
Sure. I mean,
yeah, it could be really useful, I think.
I think that is definitely a possibility, and I'd have to talk to Matt and other people about what we want to do there. But
Could you, I think it's a great idea. Can you, let's just you and I work to get it on the agenda.
okay,
For,
sure, yeah,
maybe not the next PFUG, the one
Right.
after that, so give people enough time, and
Yeah.
then we can come with some,
yeah.
do some of our analysis
presentation,
ourselves
yeah.
and kind of share them.
Yeah, that'd be
That's a
fun.
great idea. I love that idea. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks,
anything
guys.
else?
This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Talk to you later.
Have a good Friday and a good
Bye.
weekend.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, good weekend. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.